Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to be diving into the Rotten Tomatoes score for Alien Romulus, but bear in mind it could fluctuate over the next week or so as more reviews are added, and also we're going to be checking out the critic reviews for this movie. Just as a side note, yesterday on the channel we dived into the social media reactions for this movie, and some of the reactions across social media for this movie are pretty wild. So if you did miss that video I put up yesterday, it's worth going onto the channel and checking out that video talking about the social media reactions. You don't want to miss it. They are pretty wild, as I say, so make sure you go and check that out. But like I said, we're here to talk about the Rotten Tomatoes score and check out the critic reviews of this movie. I'm so excited to see what they have to say about this movie. I'm crossing my fingers that it's positivity all around. I'm seeing this movie tomorrow. Could not be more hyped for this movie. Been waiting such a long time to see it. But anyway, that's enough of me talking, and with all that down, let's jump into these critic reviews and let's see what people are saying about this movie. So guys, here we go. Let's jump into the top critic reviews on the Rotten Tomatoes platform. So starting off here with MovieFreak.com, Alvarez is flying fast and loose here, and suffice to say his energetic, creative vivaciousness does tend to be infectious. And that score was 3 out of 4. So that's great to hear that the energetic component of the movie is kind of infectious. That's always a great thing to hear. So moving on to a review here from the Chicago Reader. This one is a bit of a negative review. So Alien Romulus feels made by and for people who are familiar with the component parts of an Alien movie but have never actually seen one. So he's saying that basically it does fan service to those original Alien movies, but it's made by people who have never actually seen those movies. So it's a bit of a slam on kind of the fan service basically within the movie, the fan service that calls back to the original Alien movies. So we'll have to keep our eyes on what's happening with the fan service in this movie. So, from Newsday, the decades-old franchise returns to its space horror roots. That's exactly what they needed to do. I think they realized, obviously with that Prey movie that came out, they took the Predator franchise back to its roots, and it absolutely worked. People loved that Prey movie because it just kind of made a simplistic Predator movie, exactly what the first movie was, and they're doing the same thing here with this Alien Romulus movie. They're going back to the horror roots of what made that first Alien movie so good, and it looks like it's worked, and it looks like they've finally found their recipe for Predator and the Alien franchise, which is great. And the score here given is 2.5 out of 4. So, from New York Post, it borrows the shabby computer aesthetic of the 79 flick, while upping the ante with haunting grandeur. The score there is 3.5 out of 4. So yeah, it's great to hear that they're still keeping that shabby 79 aesthetic, you know, with the CRT TVs, the kind of the old-fashioned look of kind of the technology, which is, you know, it's very kind of iconic to the Alien franchise. As soon as you see a picture of the inside of a spaceship from the Alien franchise, you automatically know it's from the Alien movie franchise. It has that specific look for it, and it's great to see that they've still kept that aesthetic of the Alien franchise. So moving on to this one from Substack, immersive, terrifying and thrilling with an outstanding cast. That's exactly what you want to hear. Immersive, terrifying and thrilling. You know, that's 3 major key components you want to hear from an Alien movie for sure. So moving on to the Washington Post. To its credit, it's a no thrills, straight up genre piece built largely on the bones of the first 2 movies. All that's missing are originality and convincing final act, and honestly, you could do worse for a Saturday night ecophon. So it's missing some originality. I kind of get that. They probably didn't want to go too far outside of the boundaries of what that first Alien movie was. They wanted to keep it similar in tone, you know, similar in kind of structure to the narrative. So I get why it probably lacks a bit of originality. But saying that, that's not a bad thing, you know, if the movie is done well. So moving on to this one from Empire Magazine. Alien Romulus plays the hits, but crucially remembers the ingredients for what made a good Alien film, and executes them with stunning craft and care. It is officially the 3rd best film in the series, and that score there was 4 out of 5. That's great to hear. It crafts it with care. I've seen the screenshots where there's like Easter eggs in the background of the previous Alien movies. The sets look incredible. Everything is practical. The director's talked about that, where he's used as much practical effects over CGI as possible. So the craft, the care, the love that's been put into this movie is absolutely on display for fans of the Alien franchise. So moving on to Bloomberg News, we do have a negative review here. So one particular creative choice is an unintentional, chilling vision of the future that has nothing to do with the chest-bursting monsters. You might find this palatable. For me, it ruined what otherwise was a fun, icky trip to space. That's kind of hard to comment on. I don't know what context he's speaking here. It's obviously to do with the narrative in the movie. So until I've seen the movie, it's kind of hard to know what this guy is talking about here. But it is a negative review, which is a shame. But this will become a lot clearer once we've seen the movie. So moving on to the Sydney Morning Herald. If Alvarez is aiming to attract body horror fans, he succeeded brilliantly. But if you were impressed by the moral arguments explored in Scott's last two prequels and by the gravitas that Weaver brought to the original trilogy, you're out of luck. So here it's saying it's more about the body horror aesthetic rather than the kind of the philosophical kind of intrigue of the moral arguments about what's going on within the franchise. So it's more of a straight up kind of action rather than jumping into the philosophical aspects like I was saying. But I'm okay with that, as long as there's an alien, as long as there's some great kills and some gore. That's kind of all I'm looking for, really. And that score there was 3 out of 5. So moving on to the BBC.com, Alvarez has triumphed with a clever, gripping and sometimes awe-inspiring sci-fi chiller, which takes the series back to its nerve-wracking monster movie roots, while injecting it with some new blood, some new acid blood, you might say. And the score there is 4 out of 5. So that's exactly what I was expecting here. I was expecting a Alien movie that would be very similar in tone and narrative to that first Alien movie. And taking it back to its roots, doing what made the franchise so successful in the first place, obviously injecting some new aspects into the movie, but not going too far with it that it becomes something else entirely. So you got something there for the original fans of the franchise, but you're adding some new twists, some new narrative spin, that's going to inject some new life, but at the same time it's not going to alienate the older fans of the franchise. When I say alienate, I'm not using that as a pun, I'm just saying so injecting new blood is always a good thing, but you don't want to go too far because it would alienate fans of the franchise. So moving on to the next one from the film Verdict, the slime and the shadows and the silence are back. Horror DNA is honoured rather than pointlessly duplicated. This time, at least, IP familiarity breeds contentment. So, from The Guardian, another negative review here. A technically competent piece of work, but no matter how ingenious its references to the first film is, it has to be said there's a fundamental lack of originality here, which makes it frustrating, and that's a 2 out of 5. Like I was saying, they probably wanted to go back and kind of duplicate the narrative and the kind of structure of the first Alien movie. And they didn't want to shy away too much from what that first Alien movie was. And it says here, this person is frustrated that they didn't, go too far outside of that kind of boundary of what the first movie was. And I kind of get that. And unfortunately, it lacked a bit of originality because they tried to copy that first movie so much. And I get why this person's kind of a bit disappointed. But, that's far and few between. Have to wait until we see the movie if that strikes up the same for me as it did for that person from The Guardian there. And that original score was 2 out of 5, by the way. So from the Daily Telegraph, Romulus might inject an appalling new life. Let me start that again. Romulus might inject an appalling new life into the Alien franchise, but it won't do much good for the national birth rate. 4 out of 5. It won't do much good for the national birth rate. I really don't understand what this guy's trying to say. Romulus might inject an appalling new life into the Alien franchise, but it won't do much good for the national birth rate. I have no idea what this guy is talking about. Guys, if I'm being dumb, I do apologize. Maybe you understand what this means, but I have no idea what this guy is talking about. So, moving on to the next one. We'll read a few more here, guys. There's 133 reviews here. I'm not going to go through all of them, otherwise we'll be here all day. So, let's do a couple more. So, from Hey You Guys, Alien Romulus masterly revives the Alien franchise as both respectful tribute and a thrilling standalone offering. It expertly blends classic horror elements with fresh perspectives, creating a must-see for fans and newcomers alike. Yeah, this is what the director's talked about, that he's made a movie here that, long-time fans of the franchise can enjoy. There's going to be Easter eggs, nuances and references to those older Alien movies, but also as a newcomer to the franchise, it's a standalone movie, so you don't have to have seen the other Alien movies for this movie to make sense. So it doesn't matter how you approach this movie as a long-time fan or as a new fan, you can enjoy it regardless, which is great to hear. And let's finish off on this one, which is unfortunately a negative review. So, what on screen is neither a haunted house nor a roller coaster, but a standard theme park ride based on a movie. An alien flavored attraction that doubles as an overly respectful homage. So, this is what we've heard in some of the social media reactions that we did yesterday or here on the channel, that sometimes they're saying that the movie dives too much into that kind of homage and kind of fan service to the original movies, and maybe that distracts people from what they're trying to do in this movie, because they're paying too much attention to what what happened in the Alien and Aliens movie. So that kind of fan service could be a bit distracting to some fans, but that seems to be far and few between. There's not many people that are complaining, but most of the complaints do seem to talk about the fan service within the movie itself. We'll have to wait until we see the movie and see if that fan service is distracting from what they're doing in this movie, but hopefully it's not that distracting. So guys, that's kind of where we are. So that's the reviews there, the critic reviews for Alien Romulus. So yeah, that was the critic reviews there on Rotten Tomatoes, summing up kind of what they feel about the Alien Romulus movie. Bearing in mind that this movie has achieved an 83% as of making this video, I think that's a really impressive score, given the state of the Alien franchise and what it's been in recent years. 83% is a great score, and it gets me all the more hyped to see this movie. But trying my best to kind of sum up what these reviews are saying, most of the negative points are kind of surrounding the fan service of this movie. And it seems that the fan service is distracting a lot of people. It seems like they're paying too much homage to those original Alien movies, Alien 1 and Alien 2, or Aliens, as you want to call it. And it seems that sometimes it's drawing people out of the movie. The fan service can be a bit kind of detracting from the movie. And, that seems to be where most of the negative connotations seem to be surrounding. But other than that, most of the reviews, they're saying that, the claustrophobic, the terrifying, the action-packed nature, everything is there that you wanted from that original Alien movie. They've brought it across into Alien Romulus, and this has done exactly what it set out to do. It set out to make the Alien movie that paid homage to that original Alien movie, took it back to its horror roots, and give fans a great installment in the kind of horror sci-fi Alien franchise that we've all been wanting for such a long time. So it's great to read these critic reviews, and like I keep saying, it gets me all the more hyped to go and watch this movie tomorrow. Cannot wait, could not be more excited. But guys, I throw it off to you. After you sort of reading these critic reviews along with me, what do you think about them? Do you agree with my opinion that most of the negativity seems to be around that kind of around the fan service and kind of detracting people from the movie? Or do you have other feelings about what you've read? And what do you think about these reviews in general? I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and opinions. Are you watching this movie this weekend as well? Guys, whatever your thoughts are, just pop them down below. Cannot wait to read them as always. Thank you so much for watching along with me. I appreciate you being here and supporting my content. It really means a lot. Hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.